Angel One has evolved into a constitutional oligarchy. It is governed by a parliamentary body consisting of 6 elected mistresses and headed by a female they refer to as the Elected One.
According to Paramount, Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1, Episode 14, Angel 1, aired on January 25th, 1988. While I have a problem believing that, because according to the calendar, January 25th, 1988 was a Monday, and I definitely remember that the station I was watching it from, coming out of Tampa, that show would air every Saturday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I know it so well because I'd have to set my VCR to record it because I was working at the grocery store at that time. But anyway, I want to talk to you today about what is considered to be one of the worst episodes in the history of Star Trek The Next Generation, Angel 1. If you do a Google search for Angel 1, you're going to probably find that it is considered one of the worst episodes in Star Trek The Next Generation. And as I said, when I was younger, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. And I still don't have a problem with the women dominating the planet part of it. It's the virus part that absolutely makes no sense. There are two parts to this story. As I said, we have the women who dominate the planet, and in this part of the story, we have the crew from the Odin that survived the crash with an asteroid. It took them 5 months, I believe, to get to the planet, and women of the planet made them feel welcome, but then the men who were rescued didn't like the way they were being treated, so they tried to push their own views and values on them. And the women of the planet decided to, well, basically turn them into fugitives. And meanwhile, on the Enterprise, we have a virus that has crippled the ship. It is a silly situation that has taken place, and I'd like to talk about this.
Captain's log supplemental. Our away team has beamed down to an unusual matriarchal society where the female is as aggressively dominant as the male gender was on Earth hundreds of years ago. Here, the female is the hunter, the soldier, larger and stronger than the male. An arrangement considered most sensible and natural.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to defend part of this episode. I honestly believe that there would be planets out there where women could be the dominator. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and yet for some reason, over the years, people have had a problem with this. I just don't get the issue here.
Even a world as remote as Angel One has heard of Starfleet. Searching the galaxy for survivors seems a petty task for one of their mighty vessels.
We don't consider even one survivor petty.
Is this man implying that we put a lesser value on life than you do?
Okay, so as I said before, I could accept the idea of a planet dominated by women, but the dialogue, the episode itself, it just doesn't stand up to the test of time, whereas the original series, Star Trek, the original series, at least the majority of the episodes, in my opinion, still hold up today. Yeah, the sets are terrible by today's standards, but the acting for the most part was decent. And in the first season of Next Generation, it's like they were desperately trying to figure out who they were and what they wanted. I've been watching Star Trek The Next Generation for over 40 years now, and this particular episode I've seen quite a few times, but I just happened to notice something a second ago, and I want to know if you're catching it as well. Pay attention to what Riker does when Mistress Beata orders them to go to a different room while they make a decision as to whether or not to tell the crew if there are survivors of the Odin on their planet. Watch what Riker does here. They stand up and head out to the room. Yar and Data go to the left. Riker and Troy go to the right. And then the next scene, they're all heading into the same room. One thing I couldn't stand about Jonathan Frakes' interpretation of Riker in the first season was he always had his hands crossed. He was so serious at the moment, and he just looks so uptight. See, a different angle right there with the same crossed arms and the scowl on his face looking like, I'm serious, don't mess with me. They just really needed to learn how to relax. I think that was the whole problem with the first season. The cast tried to take it too seriously, and I don't think they knew how to have fun. One of the arguments that people have made over the years about the first season of Next Generation is regarding Commander Riker. A lot of people believe that he was trying more than anything to impersonate Captain Kirk. First Officer Riker came across more like he was trying to pretend to be another version of James T. Kirk rather than developing Riker into his own character. Okay, so we talked briefly about what's going on in Angel One. There's a power struggle going on down there, a battle of the sexes. And I don't think that's a problem that'll ever be solved no matter what planet or no matter what century. There will always be some kind of a power struggle between the two sexes. Always has and always will be. But this part right here, this is where things get really stupid. Wesley and his friend here have been scheduled for skiing lessons on the holodeck. And while they're there, the holodeck will create the snow and the cool environment, and some way, somehow, the holodeck safety systems will allow a virus to be created that'll go rampant through the ship. Where in the world is all the technology that is supposed to prevent stuff like that and filter it out? That is why so many people think that this is really a bad episode because, again, all this technology exists, and yet it was not able to find this virus and protect the entire crew from this, again, virus that the ship created.
Enterprise here, go ahead.
Prepare to beam 3 to our previous location, Geordi. After regrouping with Commander Riker, we'll return to the ship.
I suggest you make that on the double, Tasha. We have a real medical emergency brewing up here. 1/3 of the crew is down, and the latest information from the neutral zone outpost is that more Romulan vessels are converging on that area.
I'll inform the commander.
Don't we have a call to pay on the Romulans, Captain?
Indeed we do. Mr. Data, set course for the neutral zone. Warp 6.
Coordinates set. Warp 6 on your mark, sir.
One of the other criticisms that this episode had was, along with the virus, they decided to add a lot more stress to the situation by saying, hey, maybe we should throw the Romulans into this too. The Romulans, one of the most dangerous adversaries that the Federation had encountered up to this point, and yet we never get a glimpse of them. We never see them. We have the virus taking down the ship, and they finally get that issue resolved, and then they're off to go deal with the Romulans, and that's it. You see the ship take off, but you don't see any resolution to the situation that they built so much pressure up. It was a dangerous situation. We needed to get the flagship there, and we saw no resolution to it, which was a major letdown. Angel 1 had serious problems between the battle of the sexes, this ridiculous virus that the computer never caught and allowed to spread throughout the ship, and then, of course, the overhyping of a Romulan border crisis and no resolution to that situation. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments, so please drop those comments below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.